Laureen Janzen, and I'm the coordinator of counseling and accessibility services at Red River College. I've been at the college for about 11 years, and about 8 of those years I've been acting as coordinator. I started off as a counselor at Red River College, and then decided to take on the challenge of coordinating the unit. At Red River, we have 9, well, including me, 10 staff in our entire counseling and accessibility services area. Jen, who is here, is our admin assistant. Wave your hand. And she keeps things going. We have 5 counselors at the Notre Dame campus, and 2 at the Exchange District campus, and 1 at our language training center. One of the things that I'll maybe start off saying is our model is very similar to what you've heard Jamie and Jess talk about. There's no question, but there's also a difference in that we are a combined or hybrid unit. We have a different kind of model where our counselors do the personal emotional counseling as well as accessibility services. So whereas at universities the 2 areas are generally separated, still work very closely together but are generally separate. So at Red River College, we find that it's a good model for us because students are usually in class from 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock or 9 o'clock to 4 o'clock with only a lunch break, and to make time for various different appointments is very challenging for students at the college if they're taking a full-time course load, which most are, because the programs at Red River are program-based, they're not course-based. So it's a different model for that reason, and we find that it works really well at Red River College to have the combined units. So when a student with a disability presents to us, they make an appointment with a counselor who obviously reviews their documentation, and just as at UW and U of M, we have guidelines and requirements for documentation to be current. Just like Jamie mentioned, if a student is presenting to us with a learning disability, we would ask that the assessment be 5 years or newer, and if it is older than 5 years, we would request that they be reassessed. And then because maybe the diagnosis won't change, but some of the accommodation recommendations may change, or some of the information regarding the assessment tools might give us more information so that we can provide the best accommodations possible. And also when documentation is recent like that, a student can also apply for various different kinds of funding. I'm sure that most of you in this room, if not all of you, are familiar with the Canada Student Grant, and they do require documentation to be no older than 5 years for the grant, for the student to be eligible for the grant. So as at U of M, we do have the possibility for students who have never been assessed or who need an updated assessment to be assessed at no charge. They do need to be students at the college. Nobody can get that assessment at no charge prior to becoming a student. So sometimes I get phone calls and that question comes up, so there's the answer. And so usually someone can be assessed within a few months. So we are pretty lucky that way, although it still feels like, waiting is hard when you have a student who's really motivated to be assessed maybe for the first time because they're showing signs and symptoms of a learning disability. They really want to get going, and they're motivated to get that assessment, find out what's going on for them, and find out what can be helpful. And so even a few months wait list can feel like a long time. But we are very lucky that way that we have somebody in-house that can do them in that kind of period of time. She does probably about 30 a year, so it's not unlimited. Her time is not unlimited, so it's not a huge amount, but it is something that we do offer. And as Jamie mentioned, in the interim, while somebody is waiting to be assessed and they're showing strong signs and symptoms, or they need updated assessments, we will provide some accommodations in the interim until that happens. So As was mentioned, I think it's a trend not only in Winnipeg at post-secondary, but nationally. The highest number of students that come to see us for accommodations have a mental health diagnosis. That's the largest group that we're working with right now. You know, probably when I started at Red River College about a decade ago, it was learning disabilities. And probably a decade before that, it was more, it was disabilities that were more visible. So things kind of, I don't know, they change and they grow, and I think there's a greater awareness that people who have a mental health diagnosis would be eligible for accommodations. And I think at post-secondary, we're seeing a lot of students who maybe are having their first episode of a mental health or a mental illness. They're having their first episode and they come and see us, maybe initially for counseling, but through that process they become assessed and they have a mental health diagnosis, and then they're eligible for accommodations and the whole wheel starts working. So basically though, the same accommodations that have been described for U of M and UW are similar at Red River College. The exam accommodations, tutoring supports, reduced course load could be an accommodation, assistive technology, materials that are in an alternate format can be provided, and other things. You know, those are the typical ones. Those are the typical ones, and there's always things that come up every year that sort of surprise us. Is that a reasonable accommodation? Or so sometimes we have to weigh things. Well, actually, we always have to weigh things, and this is, I'm sure, the standard that U of M and UW uses as well. All programs at Red River College, all courses have essential learning outcomes, things that are required for that person to be proficient in order to pass that course. And accommodations cannot compromise those essential learning outcomes. So sometimes a student will request an accommodation that might be reasonable in one class but might not be in another class. It depends on the learning outcomes. So at Red River, and I'm sure it's the same at UW and U of M, we really have a collaborative approach. That's our desire, to be really collaborative with the student, what they need, and then also collaborative with the instructors and the programs to understand their learning outcomes and how we can come up with a reasonable accommodation plan for that student. And sometimes it's simple and sometimes it's complex, right? So I did bring along some brochures as well that kind of give an overview of all student support services, and then I did bring on some copies of, this is our handbook for students with disabilities. It is available on our website in a downloadable version so that students can understand what their responsibilities are in receiving accommodations and just how to access our services, what could be available and what's required of them to receive the services. One of the things, I'll just mention this, that sometimes students understand that they have rights as a student with a responsibility, as a student with a disability, but they also have responsibilities as a student with a disability to follow some of the processes and procedures that we have so that we're able to provide these things in a smooth fashion. At Red River College, we have about 1,500 students that are registered with counseling and accessibility services. And because we're a hybrid model, so not all those students have disabilities. About 73% is usually the number we sit at. So probably around 800, 900 students that we see in our unit have disabilities. So for us to run efficiently, we have systems, and so that's what this book's about. And they're free for the taking if anybody would like to look at it. So I think I'll leave it there.